All good? Good evening. This is Township Rochelle Park special meeting, March 22nd, 2023. Time now is 6 o'clock. According to the Open Public Meetings Act, this meeting, March 22nd, 2023, was sent to the Town of the Record and published on March 13, 2023, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on Rochelle Park's website and Facebook page, and remain continuously posted as the required notice under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Artola?
Here.
Committeeman Bassetti?
Here.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Acucci?
Here.
Mayor Mosher?
Here. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. So, motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Anyone abstain? Okay.
No.
So, he said, had they asked, I would have told them. My ultimate goal was to sell it here. However,
Good evening. This is Township of Rochelle Park's public meeting on March 22nd, 2023. Time now is 7:10. According to the Open Public Meetings Act, this meeting of March 22nd, 2023 was sent to the Town and the Record and published on January 9th, 2023, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on Rochelle Park's website and Facebook page, and has remained continually posted as a required notice under the statute and is being recorded and videotaped. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Artola?
Here.
Committeeman Bassetti?
Here.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Acucci?
Here.
Mayor Mosher?
Here. Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first up, we have a proclamation for one of our residents in town. Her name is Sarah Cangelosi Salamone. She is the Italian honorary consulate here in New Jersey. So last week we were invited to the celebration. It was a nice event, and it's great to see one of our residents in town get this honor. So I'm going to read this proclamation that we made up for her. Whereas Sarah Cangelosi Salamone was born January 8th in Passaic, New Jersey, whereas she resides in Rochelle Park, New Jersey, with her husband, Mauro Salamone. She is the mother of Liana, Chiara, and Jack, grandmother to Filippo, Carmelo, Alejandro, and Giacomo. Whereas Sarah Salamone is the vice president of Door Wind Manufacturing Company and Decan Realty in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Whereas she is an active in the Italian-American community and is always ready to promote Italian heritage and assist everyone that needs assistance. Whereas Sarah Salamone has been an active participant in numerous organizations from 1990 to the present. Associazione, Italian, Cavalieri del New Jersey, OMRI, Federazione Siciliana del New Jersey, current president, Who's Who in Businesswomen in the United States, Italian-American Women's Forum of Lodi, founder and former president, Club de San Giuseppe Lodi, just to name a few. Whereas she has been awarded the following awards: 1983, honored as Woman of the Year by the Italian-American Forum of Lodi; 2004, honored as Woman of the Year by the Boys and Girls Club of Lodi; 2010, honored as Woman of the Year by the Casa Colombo Italian Education and Cultural Center for her commitment to the Italian-American community; 2007, introduced to the Ordine Equestre del Santo Sepolcro de Gerusalemme; 2010, awarded the title of Cavaliere al Merito della Repubblica Italiana Armory, and in February of 2023, Sarah was selected as the Honorary Consul of Italy in New Jersey, providing services to the Italian citizens of New Jersey. Now therefore, I, Perrin Mosca, Mayor of the Township of Rochelle Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim, and this was last week, Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, as Sarah Cangelosi Salamoni Day, and encourage all residents to join me in congratulating her on this prestigious honor. Like to come up?
Look, I bought San Pellegrino just for the occasion. Oh, I have that. Not a bad idea. Oh, yeah?
This Cangelosi's in Parkridge. Yeah, what's it called, Brian Cangelosi, all of them were, his dad was, yeah. Yeah.
Hold up your copy.
Get out of the way.
Yep.
Take a look at it. Take a look at it. Thank you.
Push your chair out. No. I know my role.
All right, next up is our budget introduction, 2023 budget introduction. Our Township CFO, Roy Vergatano's here, and our Township Auditor, Andrew Parenti. You guys can come up.
Good evening. The protocol for the budget intro is just that, it's an introduction. There is no participation this evening with the public on the budget document. The participation will be at the next meeting where it will be a public hearing on the budget in which the public has all the rights to ask any question concerning the budget. After this evening, the budget will be posted on the website as per law. And at that time, the public can begin its review. A little different this year, if someone has a specific question, if you go through the clerk, I'll try to meet with that person or persons before the meeting, or during the day, whatever it is, so that the public has even a better sense of where the budget is. It's a little different this year, I'm offering that, hopefully that helps. As of now, the budget is in, the appropriations are in agreement with the revenue. Right now, we're at a $37 increase on the taxpayer. That also includes the elimination of the ARP money, which we were very gracious from the feds to get for the last 2 years. That's been exhausted. So we had to make that money up, and through the administrator and everyone on the board here, we've all met, and hopefully we have a pretty good budget in line. And with that, it's $37 approximate. So what we're looking this evening is basically a roll call to get the approval so we can get that down to the state, which the state will review the budget as well. Now, if you have any specific, but we did go through this budget without a plan on purpose so that we didn't break the sunshine law. And the administrator was at every one of those meetings as well.
Roy, I got a couple questions if you wouldn't mind answering. Can you tell me why the police budget is $425,000 over last year? Is it for contractual raises? That's a lot of money.
Yes, so it's twofold, Councilwoman. One was the ARP money was also infused in that appropriation line item. If you look at last year's budget.
I understand that.
So there's 241 of the 400,000. It's half. So then you,
the amount spent for the police last year was like $2.5 million.
But we also have the ARP money that was also part of the salary.
I understand that, but the art money came just because of the COVID.
That's where
Last year,
the,
what was the revenue change from 21 to 22? Is it like $1.1 million is what I'm reading? Am I doing it wrong?
hold on.
You seem to, the numbers add up. Last year, we spent about 2.8 million in salaries. You have to add the art money into the salaries and wages that were charged.
Yeah, the art money, I want to know why it's so high this year when only $2.5 million and plus was spent on salaries for
No,
police.
you're not.
You have to add the ARP money,
The
Councilwoman,
art money was used in salaries.
for the police.
It was, all of it was used, 241,000.
Right.
But to add that into the 2.572 million.
It would have been 2.791309.
Right.
So you are right, Ms. Boniface, it was 2.9 if you add the ARP money to it, so it's roughly the same number, but we can't show it that way because we don't have the ARP money. So that ARP money is infused in the one line item of the police salary and wage, which makes it look like it's up 450,000. When it's up, please don't quote me about $100,000, which is steps.
No, I misread that. The other question is, what is the revenue brought in this year versus the revenue brought in 2021?
Which revenue?
The total revenue in the town from everything, from the cannabis, from the police, from the building department. How much money was that?
We have it.
The total revenue realized, including taxes, was 14.5 million.
What sheet is that on?
That's on sheet 11,
What was the revenue in 2021?
2021. I'm not,
Okay, I tried to look it up real quick here, but a much more substantial amount of money was brought in revenue due to the new things being cannabis, yeah.
well,
So that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean-
I want to know that number to show that there's going to be a tax increase with all that revenue brought in. It doesn't make sense to me.
Because you do have some appropriations this year that are being increased. Well, let me see that sheet real quick.
Grant writer being one.
That's 22,000
It's not gonna give you more.
administrator.
Increased recreation,
We lost 250,000.
and you lost
In
that off.
art money, and art money never came into the town for 2 years.
We used it in our
2 years.
budget though.
But it never came into the town before. That's what I'm trying to say. That helped you out. Trust me.
This
Well, we
year,
lost a lot
I
of
just
money in
wanna
other
know-
funds. Yeah, go ahead.
in 2023, there are some appropriation increases. Recycling expenses are going up approximately 83,000. Your health benefits, which I'm sure we've all heard about, they're going up 258,000. The pension appropriation is going up 119,000.
But I'm trying to figure out the money that came in revenue over the year 2021. It's like $1 million, right? Between about 500,000 for cannabis.
And you had a,
Building department fees were
Were up.
300 and some thousand.
Yeah.
The money for the police, the 20% administration fee, that was over 100,000 more than before. A lot of revenue came into this town, and I understand things went up, but why? Why is there still an increase? I see increases to departments. Why? This is a time of needs, not wants. I've said this time and time again. We're a 1 mile square town. We don't have no plans for the sewer pump station except to bond it. Why don't the belts be tightened in this town instead of giving departments extra money to spend on toys? Let's put it out there, toys. That's my problem with this budget. And the one group that never gets anything is our senior citizens in town. 7,500 is all. This council can't allow them, say, an extra $2,500, round up their number to 10. They hold a lot of events in there, bringing entertainment in. We can't increase their budget. So I've done talked about these budgets in this town as being a shell game. When people get their budgets, that's it. That's all you're allowed to spend. Down the line, we're gonna transfer in so other people can spend on things that are not needed in town.
Roy, the figure is $37, we know what the county and school will go up, or is it just flat?
Too early yet.
Too early?
County won't be struck sometime May.
Okay,
School is May 15th.
by mid-May we'll know. Okay.
I can tell you in life, not being out of order, the new school BA at the school is fantastic.
Good.
And Roy, this is not, I'm not after you or Andrew. I'm after this council for not really looking into and knowing the wants, not just listening and getting the same list, the wish list that was given to me last year. That's what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with you or Andrew at all. But those things on those wish lists aren't bought. It's like a joke. I've probably got the same wish list from one department that I got 5 years ago.
Quite a change from previous years when we tried to keep the taxes real low and you wanted to raise taxes. Now, all of a sudden, you don't want to raise taxes. It's interesting, to say the
Listen, I
least.
pushed for cannabis in this town
Interesting.
when I had opposition up on this dais because I knew the money that it would bring in and help this town. This year, just the cannabis sales is like $500,000. $500,000 extra money, and you can't put a flat tax on there?
You single-handedly brought cannabis to this town. You're
I
taking credit for
fought,
that?
I fought for it,
Yeah?
along with other people, but, yeah, I did fight for it. Don't you remember
You-
cannabis kills?
You single-handedly brought it to the town.
I worked on it.
Okay.
Well, you couldn't
It was-
find your emails.
It was unanimous. So I don't know what.
It was unanimous, but wasn't there a big conversation here, or were you off
And
somewhere?
that was important to have that conversation.
Oh, so when we heard you need all the lies that came out here, we needed our SCBA's and all this other crap.
Okay,
Please, Perrin,
please.
please, we're appointing a new cannabis attorney tonight. You know why? He's the one we should have had. But no, he's all voted for the guy from Boston who never wrote an ordinance in this town. Enough is enough.
And
You know what? Show your
and-
proof, buddy,
and-
because you have no proof at all. All you do is say things.
More
You have no
innuendos that you
proof.
always
No
talk about.
innuendos,
You
Perrin.
talk about what we're doing with the budget. Give me some examples. You're just spewing out things.
Here, fire department, $60,000 or $70,000, when our DPW is answering most of the daytime calls. So what are we giving them if they don't have enough people on there to answer calls? What are we giving them
We're allowing them to be ready.
to be ready?
Yes.
With what? Last year, they spent 52,000 in their operating.
Hey.
Now you're gonna give them 70 to spend.
I'm okay with the fire department getting that money.
That's okay, I'm okay
Okay.
with them too, but they
Okay.
need to do more. There needs to be a merger of the surrounding towns, every single town in our area surrounding us, Lodi, Maywood, Saddlebrook, all has need for volunteers. It's sad, but that's where it has to go. Not every town needs a ladder truck. Not every town needs this, not every town. There needs to be a merger here to save money. I'm not gonna go on and on, believe me. Where is the money coming to pay off the officer, Glenn Burnett?
Salary wage from last year's budget. We reserve that money on purpose so we don't touch the compensated money for the future.
Is the compensated money, is
Yes.
it any money being replaced in there this year?
No, but we're not spending it this year. That's why we're taking it from the 01-2030 account for that officer in
I
July.
understand that, but money was put in in 2018, Mike Warren, could you help me with that? 2019, right?
Yeah, 100,000, 200,000, it's funded,
Right.
and it still is. There's
I understand that, but
266,000.
that's where the tax increase was that year, to fund an underfunded account. Am I correct?
Well, it was part of it, it wasn't the only increase, it helped.
I understand that.
And that's when we also did the reserve for the appeals. We did quite a bit of fixing those couple years, absolutely.
Okay,
And those reserves are still there, Councilwoman,
but why are we reserving and then you're taking it out of salary?
for next year, so that we keep that compensated balance for next year. Because we had that money from the ARP money, if I may,
Yeah.
from last year, that's what I'm going to pay the officer out of.
Okay. That's good.
You also have another reserve that in prior years has been established as a reserve for tax appeals. There's 250,000 that's being added to the reserve for tax appeals from the 22 taxes that were collected. So that in addition to having the compensated absences funded, you also have your tax appeals funded.
So do we have a cash number of how much more cash we have this year compared to last year? Do you have those numbers?
I couldn't.
There's an extra 400 in surplus, that I know. I know that's there.
You all know the increases in the revenue is exactly what we've said when we met before this meeting. The cannabis, the building department, the fees from the court is up, finally.
And
Your revenues are up.
And why are those fees from the building department so high this year?
You have development.
Okay.
I can't give you a comparison of the cash from 22 to 21.
But
Okay.
tonight, we're gonna pay out a tax court judgment, so how much was that? Is there,
No, it was like two, yeah,
280,
thanks, Kevin.
280, and we knew that was coming, so that's why we replenished that reserve for tax appeals with the 250,000 from 22 tax collections.
Great.
The judgment came in November.
And again, as I always say, when I hear about the budget, the increase was gonna be $50 to $60. Of course, I come in here the night of, and it's 37, whatever you said, Roy. Why wasn't I informed of that? It always seems to change.
It did change. It changed after we met. I then met with the other council, with the administrator, and it was at that time that we were able to get it down $20.
Why wasn't I notified? Like, didn't you put it?
I didn't notify anyone else either on the council on that, other than Ms. Apici at the very end with the administrator, because we got our assessed value that went up, and we only knew that 2 weeks ago from the county.
I'd like to see the seniors get 2,500 more in their budget. There's no reason why money can't go there to them.
Work in progress, we can do that.
I mean, that's easy. I mean, we can, this budget can be,
So under the township laws and regs, I report to the administrator. So with the administrator, please give me a day or two, let me go over the numbers with the administrator, and then you will all have the same email. I'll make sure no one is dropped off the email when we decide where and how we're going to do that.
okay. Any other questions? So we vote on this now?
Now.
Okay.
On intro only.
Motion intro of the budget.
And before you do that, the hearing date is, if I can get that,
No, she will read a resolution.
Oh, we are?
it's in the resolution
Introduction.
for the hearing
You have to
date.
read that resolution.
Okay.
So if you want to skip to that part.
You want me to do that now?
Yeah,
That's good, right?
yep.
Okay. You want to read it?
Yeah.
Anne Marie?
Okay. Be it resolved that the following statement of revenues and appropriations attached hereto constitute the local budget of the Township of Rochelle Park, Bergen County, New Jersey, for the year 2023. And be it further resolved that the budget be published in the record in the issue of April 3rd, 2023, and that a hearing on the budget will be held at the municipal complex on April 26, 2023, at 7 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached.
You want a motion? Want to keep going or not?
No,
Do I read
that's
that?
for the,
I think you can read that.
oh, okay. Mayor Mouska asked for a motion to introduce the 2023 township budget and that the budget be published in the record with a public hearing to be held on April 26, 2023.
April 26th.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second,
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Committeeman Pacchetti?
yes.
Committeewoman Boniface?
No,
Deputy Mayor Peachy?
Yes.
And Mayor Mosca.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. Next up is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Committeeman Pacchetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Boniface?
no,
Deputy Mayor Peachy?
Yes.
Mayor Mosca.
Yes. All right, next up is the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Chief.
Several issues we have that have been ongoing. I just want to give some updates. I know Plaza Way has become quite of an eyesore from border to border. I want to thank Dave Brown, our DPW superintendent, working with the Borough of Paramus DPW superintendent and with the Garden State Plaza management. They've started cleanup. I know I've received several calls from residents down along that live both on the far side of town, down closer to the Paramus border, as well as those who live over by Pleasant Avenue, seeing a huge difference within just 2 days. As far as the potholes go, they are going to be addressed. I know the Plaza reached out to their private contractor and expect to repave several portions starting in May. So kudos to Dave and Westfield, Westlake, whatever they're called now, for working with us. On the Garden State Plaza, Mr. DePies and I had a great meeting with the Westfield Development Corporation and their attorney. Basically, they came to us to say, hey, look, we want to extend an olive branch, work with Rochelle Park, kind of give you a heads up on the apartment complex that we're going to be doing. It was a very informative and courteous presentation on their part. And they will follow up with meeting with this committee and eventually with the public once those plans become public. And of course, they don't want to sidestep the borough of Paramus on that. So, but again, they were kind enough to reach out, and they're also willing to allow our professionals, specifically our engineer, to review such plans and make sure that any flooding concerns that we might have are in fact addressed. And I think that's, again, it was very productive meeting, and we look forward to continuing that. If I miss anything, Mr. Capizza, please. And again, Committeewoman Boniface referenced the cannabis resolution. That'll allow us to work with Mr. Mondello. Our ordinance does need to be reworked. It's something that I've been working with the one store that we currently have, and they're aware that once we have Mr. Mondello in place, we'll sit and have some meetings and clean up that ordinance as well as their licensing process and do some things that will benefit the township at the end of the day. Our code enforcement officer, unfortunately, came his first day to resign, so I'm going to be looking for a replacement. I have been contacted by Mr. Di Maria, who stated that he has someone who may be willing to apply, and I will reach out to that person. It's the full-time code enforcement officer in Little Falls. The DMV mobile unit came and inspected our parking lot. They did a site visit, and they approved it. I await some list of possible dates in which they will come. We will have up to 50 to 100 residents be able to conduct DMV business here, such as renewing your license, your registration, and real IDs. Once I have those dates, I will definitely get them out there on social media, the signboard out front, and share them here at these meetings. Please note, our DPW does recycle white goods. Those are old appliances. I know PSE&G has been hitting up social media offering you money, but we do have a recycling ordinance. We ask that you contact the DPW. There are some forms over on that table. They're going to look like this, as well as they'll be posted to our website. It's a downloadable form, fillable PDF. You can get that. Either drop it off here at Town Hall and or call the DPW and leave a message with our superintendent, and they will schedule a pickup of those appliances for you. I just want to, again, remind the residents that we do that here in town. You don't need to have any outside service companies including public services, who's going to hire a subcontractor, but we don't know who they are and have a background check. So I ask again, utilize your services. We conducted, as far as the police department goes, we conducted interviews tonight for the position of captain. We'll have an announcement soon enough, probably at the next work session. And then we'll continue to go from there, backfilling the lieutenant's position and the sergeant's position, as well as we've opened up our hiring process. And I thank this committee for being committed to the public safety in that regard. Good news is our SLAO 2 officer has completed his field training. It was kind of an accelerated rate because he served the city of Hackensack for so long and has worked here full-time as a dispatcher. So he was able to go through the process rather quickly, and he'll be able to work by himself when needed, again, to supplement our full-time staff. Next door, I know I mentioned last meeting, 161 West Passaic Street, we've asked them to vacate by April 1st. A couple issues with public service, and Asplund, who's their subcontractor, reached out, I guess, hearing about that. I have a meeting scheduled with them on March 27th. I will tell the public and this committee, once again, I'm going to hold public service to as much of a high standard as I can. We all know they're governed by the NJ Bureau of Public Utilities, the BPU. And if you look at case law, where Ridgewood tried to kick them out and stop them from working on streets, Ridgewood suffered a huge monetary loss and a loss of a lawsuit. So I will continue to advocate for Rochelle Park and work with them, and make sure at least they clean up the parking lot, and hope to have them out of there by May, but there's other things I'm going to bring up to them. The second issue with them is, unfortunately, those of you that have asked about the markouts on Central Avenue, you don't have to worry about those. They cannot put any of the new poles on Central Avenue because of their underground utilities. They've since asked to run up new poles up older streets, so you may have seen those markouts. I have some serious concerns about that. Again, I cannot get in the way of the BPU and/or public service, but I will meet with them on that same date on the 27th to express the township's concern, especially since that roadway and sidewalks were just replaced there. We do have a beautification fund there that I'm going to ask that maybe public service consider, augmenting if possible. Summer concert update, don't write this date down yet. Preliminarily, save the date, Monday, August 7th. I was able to reach out. I've reached out to the school's BA, Mr. Riley, Dr. Riley. They will have their meeting. I sent the facility request form. I don't see it being an issue. The issue became with the showmobile out of the city of Hackensack. We could not get it on the couple of dates that we originally asked for, but it was available on August 7th. My continued thanks to the city of Hackensack for allowing us to use that. I just received the certificates of insurance. I will forward those over to Hackensack tomorrow. Carlock Field update. The work, as we've reported, had started. And as I reported to this committee via email, we were able to see that the rest of the wall that originally wasn't to be repaired has been leaning. We were able to take care of that. And it's going to be within the 20% of the bid threshold. And it's going to be done without adding further debt because of that insurance money that we received for that wall. So we will continue the construction around to the point where the wall is stable, which I think in the long run makes sense. We don't have to half fix something and then worry about it later on down on the road. That may delay the completion date, but the contractor has been moving pretty quickly. Also in the process of obtaining more information from Boswell about our 2023 Open Space Municipal Parks Improvement Grant through the county. Looking to do some upgrades to Carlock Field as well as Matthews Field. Some things we have ideas that have been kicked around, bocce ball courts, horseshoe pits, maybe a volleyball court, leveling off that bleacher area in Carlock Field, the addition of a pavilion and moving of the shed, as well as additional security cameras that we can help secure those facilities even better. And of course, upgrades to the playground area, more cameras at Matthews Field. Again, preliminarily, reached out to Boswell, start working some numbers, and then I reached out to Millennium Strategies, our grant writer. Once I have those numbers, we'll start that process. As mentioned by the CFO, Municipal Court is doing great. Today was the first day we had in-person court. They took in over $6,000 in revenue. That's one court session, so if you double that, we're in those figures that we hope to have been. And that's not even done with all the payments coming in yet, because they do time payments, etc. It did go off with no issues. I want to thank Lieutenant DePreda for his time and effort. He spearheaded the security detail. He was able to get court officers back in here. They did a great job. I know the judge was happy, and again, it went off without any issues. A little bit about Midland School today. For those of you that may have seen our public or our social media posts, today our SRO, again, great asset having in the school. Just prior to the start of the school day, called in over the radio a possible gas leak and the odor of gas in the building. We ended up having to evacuate the building, and we're kind of in that limbo space. But I'm going to share the words of Dr. DeNobili, the superintendent, and I share them with her. So it says, she wrote, "My sincere gratitude to the township for their support of the school district this morning. The collaborative efforts among the police and fire departments, OEM coordinator, DPW superintendent, and the district administration, faculty, and staff truly exemplifies the importance of our teamwork and collective efforts to care for the children of our community. It is said it takes a village, and in our case, it takes a township. We sincerely appreciate everyone's care." And again, I echo those comments and note that we appreciate the continued dedication towards the same goal of caring for our residents and stakeholders in a way that both the school administration and the township does. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Committeewoman Boniface.
Ooh, it's me. Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending, and I truly mean that. Recycling. The Bergen County Utilities Authority household hazardous waste collection is in Paramus at Bergen Community College on Sunday, April 16th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Recycling events are on April 30th. This is for mobile paper shredding, electronics, computers, and unwanted medications. Remember, unwanted medications, there is a box in the lobby of the police station. And that will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., also at Bergen Community College. Paper shredding is here in the municipal building lot on Saturday, April 22nd, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., rain or shine. Please refer to the back pages of the township's calendar when it comes to what to do for disposal of garbage, appliances, furniture, carpet, construction debris. If you have any doubt, call the DPW at 201-857-7740. If no one answers, leave a message. Someone will get back to you. And this, I'm glad to mention this. I saw this come up. The Bergen County Commissioners finally voted to approve work on 3 parks, included is Saddle River County Park, Rochelle Park section. This will also feature tennis and pickleball courts. The Rochelle Park section will also feature a basketball court. I'm looking forward to this project being completed. That's all, folks.
Committeeman Pacietti.
Since last meeting, the DPW has completed the following. Street sweeper was out for 16 hours, assisted with the police with changing the batteries and the speed signs, picked up metal curb size on Monday for recycling. Please call the DPW to schedule a pickup. We continue refacing stop signs that have been faded or have been vandalized. We have begun our cleanups at the town properties, continue flushing out the sewer mains. We have finished District 4 and 3, and we have completed or paid the projects at the building department and court offices. The ADA ramp and wall project at Carl Field is underway. And the police report, I think the chief already touched bases, the promotional exams and the gas leak today. So that's pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Committeewoman Artola.
For the Rochelle Park Library, on the events coming up on Sunday, April 2nd at 2 o'clock, the Hudson Valley Chamber musicians will perform a concert featuring women composers for Women's History Month. Goat Yoga will be happening on Monday, April 22nd at 1 o'clock. This program will be held in conjunction with the Johnson Public Library in Hackensack and will take place on their front lawn. Registration is required. Join us for Read with a Dog with Sasha, the therapy dog. Sasha will be here on Tuesday, April 11th from 3:30 to 4:30. Please sign up in advance for this program. Regular programs are Teen Advisory Council, Book Club, Adult Crafts, and Tech Tutor. We also have 2 yoga programs, Easy Stretch Yoga on Zoom every Wednesday at 12 noon. This will be recorded and available on our social media for a week after the program. Also, Bold Yoga is available online and on demand for all ages. Just contact the library for more information. For the Rochelle Park seniors, at their last meeting I attended on March 9th for their St. Patrick's Day themed meeting. It was so nice to see the seniors dressed in green, wearing shamrock scarves, jewelry, pins, shirts, socks, headbands, and even a light-up bow tie and on one gentleman and a green wig on a lady. So our seniors really know how to celebrate. As a reminder, the seniors meet on the 2nd and 4th Thursday of every month at 1 o'clock. The next meeting is tomorrow. Stan Friedman will be their guest speaker with his presentation, Diamond Dreams, Diamond Memories. As also, you can check their schedule posted on the Rochelle Park Township website. Any new members are always welcome. Come to a meeting to learn more and have some fun. On Sunday, March 12th, I have participated in the Office of Emergency Management's tabletop exercise. For those of you who are not familiar, a tabletop is a complex scenario is presented, and participants must determine how they will address the emergency. It started with a video of breaking weather news report stating that there was an expected flood in our area. The police, fire department, CERT, DPW, the Township Committee had to state their immediate actions and devise their plans for a weather emergency. Representatives of Crisis Management and the Board of Education also participated. Activities such as flood monitoring, communications between departments, rescues, mass notifications, calls for mutual aid, evacuations, shelter, security, and emergency operations were all planned. They had to document the information, make leadership decisions, and communicate the action plan to their teams while communicating with each other. The participants were mostly up-and-coming leaders in each department. Thank you to all who participated, and thank you to the tabletop planning team, which I was proud to be a part of this year. Special thanks to Pete Donatello of OEM and the team for planning this event. Also special thanks to Sergeant Stapleton for conducting this training. He created the weather news report, which set the tone for the severity of the incident, and created dispatch recordings throughout the exercise, which made it more realistic. His guidance to all the teams, especially the police, helped each of us to improve as each module was presented. Right after that, we conducted a ribbon cutting ceremony at the grand opening of Maestro Pizza at 440 Rochelle Ave, next to the 7-Eleven. Congratulations to this family-owned business. The owners, Michael and Christine, and their son Roy provided pizza, chicken wings, and cake for the event. They were joined by their 2 other sons and extended family for the celebration. Congratulations. We wish you much success in Rochelle Park.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to tell them what goat yoga is? Because I found that pretty interesting.
So I actually did goat yoga before the pandemic, and it's yoga classes with goats running around you. Sometimes the goats crawl on you, and the presence of the animals actually relaxes you and helps you take your mind off your own tension. The particular goat yoga I went to was at a lavender field, so it was even more exciting. And we stood back to back, and the goats came across us. They were baby goats, but you do have to watch. They will eat everything. They were going after cell phones, people's mats, keys. They really live up to their reputation of eating everything. So this goat yoga is in conjunction, though, with Johnson Library. So it's not going to be held here. It's going to be held there. But please register because
There's 30 slots, right?
I think
Or
it's 30.
There's 2 slots, 30 slots each.
Yeah, and the goats will be there ready to have fun with you.
All right, great, thank you.
Maybe we can do chicken yoga here.
Deputy Mayor Apici?
Good evening. The Midland School update. Midland School Spring Concert is Thursday, March 30th, which is next Thursday at 7 p.m. Doors will be open for seating at 6:45. There will be 2 tickets per student, and the evening concert will be live streamed for anyone who would be interested in watching the performance of the children. For recreation, our annual Easter egg hunt will be held on April 1st at Matthews Field at 10 a.m. Anyone with disabilities is invited to come earlier at 9:30 a.m. And there'll be designated parking for anybody with disabilities. Family bowling signups have started. Will be held on April 30th from 1 to 3 p.m. at Bowler City in Hackensack. The fee is $20 per family, and it is on a first-come, first-served basis. There are a few spots still available. The sign-up sheet is posted on the Recreation Facebook page, on the Township page, and in the Our Town. Rochelle Park Razorback football will be coming back under Recreation for 2023. It's been on its own for, I think, about 5 or 6 years. So Recreation is looking to bring parents to come in and help assist run this league for 2023. Anyone interested, please contact Recreation at rochelleparknj.gov to assist with that. Rochelle Park Day is scheduled for Saturday, May 20th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Midland School, since Carlock may still be closed. We ask any residents who are interested in volunteering for the event to please contact Recreation first to sign up. It's again a day of food, fun, and music, fun for all residents of all ages. Camp director and counselor applications for 2023 summer camp are still open. Anyone who is interested, please submit your applications to Recreation. Applications are posted on the Township website, Facebook page, and on the Our Town. Recreation also would like any residents who are looking to volunteer for any of their events, any programs. We encourage you to fill out the volunteer form on the Township website and to email it to recreation@rochelleparknj.gov. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Fire department report for February. The fire department responded to 21 calls in the month of February, 9 active false alarms, 1 CO alarm, 7 mutual aids, 1 MVA vehicle fire, 2 hazardous conditions, and 1 MVA wires down. Members logged a grand total of 358.5 man-hours in the month of February. Members logged 156 hours on calls in the month of February. In addition to responded calls, members attended numerous meetings and trainings throughout the month of February, as well as time spent checking to ensure equipment was clean and functional should the need arise. On February 5th at 5:30 in the evening, RPFD was requested to assist PD with the road closures following a train taking down wires at Rochelle and Railroad Ave. 2 FD command vehicles as well as Rescue 1 were utilized to shut roads until County PD arrived with cones and barricades. On February 7th at 11 a.m., Maywood FD requested our rescue to respond to an MVA in their town with party trapped in the vehicle. Rescue 1 arrived as primary rescue, quickly stabilized the vehicle, and extricated the driver. Once extricated, the driver was evaluated by EMS. So that was the fire department. I also went down to Midland School today. I actually took off in the morning and was around, so I went down there. I want to thank everybody that responded to that incident and made sure all the kids were safe. It was good to see everyone work together, and and that goes back to our OEM, always having these meetings. And I went to the tabletop exercise as well. It was a great learning experience for me and as well as all the committee people. So it just shows that this town is great. They do a great job of communicating with each other and getting the job done when needed. I did reach out to Rebecca Schwartz, who runs our Senator Lorgana's office. I asked her about storm drains on Route 17. So she got back to us, asked us which drains needed cleaning. And I want to give Dave Brown a lot of credit with this. He went out and checked all the storm drains on Route 17 and all the off ramps and exit ramps on Route 17, gave that a list to them. So she's going to reach out to, the DOT and see if she can get those storm drains cleaned. Dave was telling me like almost all of them were clogged. So the water's not going down the storm drain. So that's why all the water is running off of 17 and going into Lincoln Ave, going into Central Ave. All those areas are getting just runoff because the drains are not clean. So we're going to stay on top of that and have DOT clean those drains. That's definitely what we're going to try to do and get that done. And I know Chief has been on those email chains as well, so I'm sure he'll stay on top of that as well. But she did say that she's going to try to get the DOT down there. So what's that?
Committeewoman, the PG asked me if the DOT cleans those regularly. Probably not in 30 years.
Well, Dave said that it was filled with dirt all the way up.
Most storm drains that Dave put on this spreadsheet were filled to the top with silt, rags, debris. There's several down by Grove Avenue as well that you can see into the pipes that are completely clogged. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the senator's office can get the DOT to move on this.
Yeah. So, and that's it for me.
The DOT puts out maintenance contracts that clean. The DOT puts out maintenance contracts that clean the catch basins. They're all filled, because I worked 1 year on them. They're all filled all over, so they're behind for years. But the funniest thing is, something as simple as a hubcap can block that. Once the hubcap goes in front, it blocks, and nothing goes by. So I know they're out there doing it. Let's hope they can direct them our way.
Yeah. Okay. Attorney, nothing for us, right?
Close.
Okay, nothing. Okay. And clerk, nothing? Okay. Ask for a motion, open to public.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Anyone abstain? Okay. Anyone from the public like to speak? Come up, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Bob Davidson, Lexington Avenue. First of all, I'd just like to thank the Township Committee for, actually, I know you haven't voted yet, but for getting Mayanecki Engineering back in town. That's something that definitely has to have happened, and I'm very happy that it did take, that it's
Thanks to
going
you
to
too
take
for
place.
helping out with that.
No problem, but I'm not trying to say for me, but for the town, this really is a good thing. The other question I do have is reference to the, your ordinance, 094. I'm just wondering here, because I don't see anything for any specific dollar amount. That would be, that, what the minimum would be, that would be in that account?
You're talking about resolution 094?
Yes, yes. Now, I see here, there's something that says Exhibit A. I'm not sure if it's, because there's no Exhibit A here. So what I'm just want to know is what the minimum is going to be in that account. Because you know what, all of a sudden you're going to start getting hit with bills. They're going to have to be paid. So,
Yeah. So Doyle, you have a comment on that since you're here?
again, what I'm trying to find out is what the minimum.
It's in the agreement. It's an escrow agreement. Exhibit is the escrow agreement. That stipulates the amount.
Now you just got it. It should be in the.
There's an-
It's, so the agreement that stipulates the amount in your escrow account is attached to the Township Committee's
Okay,
backup,
yes, there
that
is.
they would be approving. It's on page 2, and Doug would
Okay,
like
that's what
to
I'm saying.
speak to it.
Is it here?
Did you guys get
No,
that?
you-
All right, yeah.
Because they're the ones voting to approve it, so it's still a contract that's not approved.
That's why I'm asking, because I didn't see it.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, they have it.
Correct.
Okay, minimum, so the minimum, and so they have to replenish that
When it hits
25.
5,000.
When it hits 5. I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't see it anywhere. Okay, because I know what happened the last time, and I want to.
Yeah, we're still playing catch up on escrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Christina Holtz, 82 Forest Place. I'm actually going to ask my questions all at one time and then answer just in the essence of time. My first question is, who decided we needed all this new building in town? We are limited on space as it is. We need to fix things we already have, not add to the list of things that need to be fixed in the future. So who made the decision that all of this new building is necessary immediately? My second question, has a cost analysis been done in regards to the building and maintaining of a brand-new municipal building compared to repairing and upgrading this current building? My third question, why are we paying an architectural firm to develop a space plan for a new municipal building when a redevelopment study has not been conducted yet, and neither the township nor Tolfra own the property that's the proposed site? My fifth question is in regards to the recreation appointment. Are you amending Chapter 36 of the Town Code to create this new paid recreation director position? And why do we actually need this appointed position that's going to cost the taxpayers $10,000? Does the rec department revenue generate, does the department revenue generated, is that sufficient enough revenue to merit this appointment? Also, was there an open application for this process like there is for other appointed positions in town?
The director position, would you like to speak on that, Deputy Mayor?
So the director position was posted.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, so it was posted, and they amended the ordinance. We're going to amend the ordinance to bring this person on.
Okay, and does the recreation department revenue, does it generate enough revenue to
will be
warrant a
because
$10,000
We'll be
payment?
bringing football under recreation now. Baseball is now coming under recreation. So we are gonna start generating from, because we're bringing, so we do need somebody.
Okay.
If you would like to address it, since you're here. You want to come up? Thanks, Doug.
I'm going to try to see if I can remember all the questions. My name is Doug Doyle. I'm one of the redevelopment attorneys that works for Rochelle Park. I understand, and I'll allow the chief, our town administrator, to weigh in on this, that a judgment was made long before the potential development of these properties was considered, that this building has, for all intents and purposes, either reached its end of its useful life and/or the municipality should not be spending the taxpayers' money to make improvements to this building because, one, it's not cost efficient, and two, and perhaps most importantly, it floods, which means that every time we get a bad flood, substantial damage is done to the building, and it also means that we can't store critical documents. I can tell you, this is anecdotally, I was actually involved in a recent litigation on behalf of the municipality, and we were trying to find zoning board, planning board documents that went back 50 years ago. Typically, municipalities have those. They, in fact, were lost in the flood. Fortunately, we were able to work around it, but the reality is municipalities probably should not be investing taxpayer money in properties that have that history of flooding. In addition, I understand.
Yeah, the roof needs about $750,000 to $800,000 worth of work, as well as there's about $185,000 to $200,000 of work on the exterior of the building, including sidewalks, curbs that are all lifted up, broken, fallen apart, as well as the facade of the building. So combine those, we're about $1 million.
So now, picking up on, I think, which was a very good question, which is, well, why would we be spending money on architectural analysis if, in fact, the determination hasn't been made? I would respond to that by saying that I think regardless of what happens with these studies, I think the municipality would be well suited to figure out what exactly its space needs are going forward. You have to figure out what you need. In the past, you had X amount of square feet. Maybe as a result of things happening digitally, the way that libraries are being consolidated, maybe you need less space, maybe you need more. But I think you need to know how much space you need and how that space should be laid out based on how governments operate now. When was this building built? How many years ago?
Back in 95 is when we originally opened.
Probably like 85 it was built.
Oh, this was
Way
pre-World War.
It was before 85?
This was
Probably in the
Bijou, right?
50s or 40s.
Yeah, it was in,
Oh, really?
This made weapons.
I thought Harson and Johns was the first one.
No, it was Bijou.
That's what I remember.
So you're talking about a building that was built 80 years ago that has been, quote unquote, retrofitted to basically operate as a municipal building. Well, that's not how municipal buildings are necessarily constructed anymore. They may not look like this, they may not operate like this. So I don't think that's a unwise investment of the municipality's resources, the taxpayers' money, to figure out what our needs going forward. And I would recommend that you do that simultaneously. And why? The reason is because you have a developer that has under contract a piece of property which could potentially serve this municipality better, and that is, of course, the bank diner site. Right? So assuming this property is determined to be an area need to be developed, which I'm not guessing what the planning board will do, but it is substantially old. It needs a lot of repairs. It floods. Those are the kind of things that tell me as a redevelopment attorney, I've been doing this 27 years, those are the kind of factors which usually lend a planning board to come to the conclusion that in fact it may meet the criteria. But again, the study needs to be done by a planner licensed to do that in the state of New Jersey. The facts need to be presented to the planning board, and then the planning board will make a determination. In addition, as to the other two areas, one was already studied back in 2018 and confirmed in 19. I would recommend, so that nobody challenges it down the road, that the same planner that did it before go out there and dust off that study, and so that the planning board can reconfirm that it continues to meet that designation. And then finally, the developer says, look, I'll build this for you at a discount. I'll do all this work. I'll take on all of this. I'll take on the expense of all of this. But there are properties that I own, and I would like to develop those properties. And regardless of whether we do this project or not, that developer is going to be looking to develop those properties. Overall, as a policy matter, governing bodies need to figure out how they can stabilize the tax base. One of the ways to do that is redevelopment. Taking properties that are underutilized, taking properties that are blighted, taking properties that cry out for being repurposed so that it can increase the taxes that are generated from it. And if done properly, don't increase the need for public services like police, like school-age children, like fire and safety. So that's kind of where this all came from. I think that's what the government does.
So what you're saying is, to that respect, what we need to consider more of redevelopment is businesses, small businesses such as exterminating companies or home assessment companies where you're not getting a lot of foot traffic, but not so much so apartments with school-age kids and physical bodies that need services.
Well, so the answer is you can try to promote those, but at the end of the day, the market is going to be what the market is. If there's no need for those commercial uses, they'll build it and nobody will come. Right now, there is a need, whether we like it or not, for housing. Some people like it, some people don't. But I can tell you that as a result of the need for that housing, developers are at Rochelle Park's door, North Hildon's door, Loda's door.
1,600 units. The owner of the Garden State Plaza wants to put 1,600 apartment units because there's no money in retail.
I know that the quote from Tolbert directly in the record was, this piece of property is the most desirable piece of developmental property in Bergen County, period.
Which is this?
120 and all of here, off the State Street. They want it.
Okay, yeah.
And they said it.
And that may very well be true, but I would tell you, as your redevelopment attorney, but I'm not an elected official, which is, you should take advantage of that, because what we've historically found, and I've been doing this for 27 years, these types of apartments do not generate school-age children. What they do is they generate an opportunity for people who live in Rochelle Park, that don't want to maintain their home anymore, to move in there as they call it, nesters, and it gives other young people an opportunity to either, after college, move out of their parents' basement and move into Rochelle Park, or it gives other people the opportunity to come and live in Rochelle Park, benefit from the things that Rochelle Park can offer. But many times we don't see a lot of school-age children because they eventually buy into the housing stock that's here once they're ready to raise a child. And I will say that, in response to a potential question, we will have, at the developer's expense, studies performed to determine exactly how many school-age children these units, if they're approved, if they're declared and determined to be an area need redevelopment, if the governing body declares a need redevelopment, if in fact we do deal with this developer that works for the town and the taxpayers, you will know, everybody will know how many school-age children are predicted to be produced as a result of any one of those events.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. George Martinez, 123 Central. Since I have you here, I kind of wanted to jump off of that. So in the minimal research I have done about redevelopment and everything, your research indicates that you're correct, right? The 1-2 bedrooms apartments, not generally bringing a lot of school-age children, but to your point, when those families or empty nesters move into those apartments, it does open up the housing market in Rochelle Park to potential families moving in with school-age children, in many cases, multiple school-age children. So I don't think I want to direct this to you, but mostly to you guys up here. I do know for a fact that the last pilot program is not bringing in any revenue to the school, and that's all well and good. Can you guys promise that moving forward, you'll keep that in mind, considering the information I just shared, that there is research out there that indicates that true, these apartments might not bring in school-age children, that's absolute fact. But as he said, when these empty nesters are moving and leaving these houses in Rochelle Park, young families are moving in and taking these over. We've seen this during the pandemic, a lot of young families moving in. What are we going to do for the school? Can you promise that a portion of whatever payment in lieu of taxes? So pilots are good. I agree, redevelopment needs to happen. I agree, but
If I don't want to eat up any
No,
time.
yeah.
But I think, and based on the conversations we've had, and everyone on this committee is committed to at least allowing representatives from the school to even be a part of those discussions, to say, hey, here's what the potential development is, what are some of your needs? And I think that was made very clear by everybody sitting up on this dais.
And for posterity, I'm so sorry, I should have made it clear. My comments are as a resident.
No, I
not as a
understand.
board
My
member.
my comments.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I just want to make it clear because I know there's
Understood.
a gray line sometimes. I want to make sure these are my personal comments, not as a board member, so.
I feel where the town is in a position of strength on this negotiation.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Okay.
we're gonna try to get the best deal possible.
Like I said, redevelopment's great. as long as you're looking out for the school and the community and the children, because I think that wasn't done properly the last time,
We've
so.
talked other things as far as pumps, sewer pump station upgrades,
Yeah, because again, if it's the
Critical
most, if it's the
infrastructure,
most
we get-
wanted property in Bergen County, we should, like you said, leverage that and, to our advantage and not kind of give it away. The last question, I think it's great that we're working towards, kind of like improving our recreation department. I think it's great that we're getting the Razorbacks in and everything back in. To that point, is there a scope of work or like a barometer of success that this new person being hired is going to be measured on, where we can say maybe in a year or two, this was hit and this is warranted that $10,000? Because, again, I just don't want this to become a role where someone just stays on. And 10,000 is not a lot, but again, it could go to residents. It's not a little bit of money, even coming in a month. So, yeah, is there a scope of work? Are there barometers or deadlines or kind of, KPIs that he needs to hit to kind of make sure that we're moving forward?
Remember, the 10,000, we would pay 6,500 just for the secretary. That's gone, and it's just all moving to the director. So the
Okay.
director's taking secretary duties, and he's taking over these.
Yeah, I think the money's fair.
Yeah,
I just want to know, like, again, how are we dictating whether, his, her, whoever is holding that performance, whether they're doing a good job 2 years down the road? How are we measuring that, is my question.
So as administrator, right, that's my role, and I would think, based on my leadership and what I do at the police department, holding my team accountable there,
Yep.
I will absolutely bring that to this side, and he will answer to me. And if we're not happy and we're getting the complaints and the services aren't being done, it's a one-year appointment, right? It's, the salary ordinance every year can be redone.
Awesome, okay. And Jen, I'll be reaching out about Razorbacks. I've coached the last 2 years, happy to help again, and I'm coaching baseball this year, so.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A question I have with this TOFRA. One thing I asked was to get an appraisal on this building. You're wheeling and dealing without even an appraisal on what this building is worth.
So we're not really, they didn't even determine what it was.
Well, you're setting up an escrow, and yet you don't know the value of this
We're setting
building.
up an escrow so that it doesn't matter the taxpayers' funds on buildings. Once the escrow is set up, then no longer is the taxpayer paying for my time and effort to be here. In fact, my view is from the moment the governing body authorized the resolution at the last meeting, my view is at that moment, the egg timer went off for the municipality and it went on for the developer, so that the costs associated with this evaluation are now the developer's
First
expense.
problem.
Yeah, so it's at their expense right now. So they think this might work. We're gonna take a look at it, but as they're kicking the tire and we're determining whether we wanna do this transaction, it's gonna be at the developer's expense. The one exception to that, and I wanna make it clear, is that historically, the planning board has had its own planner. Mr. Barry, he's very good. I've worked with Hiram Moskowitz and Rule since 1995. They're very good planners. I understand the governing body has its own planner. Because the planning board has its own planners that they feel comfortable with, because the planning board is an autonomous body that should make their own independent determination and make that recommendation to the governing body, it was my recommendation to the planning board attorney that, one, because they're autonomous and have their own planner, they should use their own planner to do that, and that should be funded by the governing body. They will pay for their planner to do that so that it's autonomous, it's their professional, and they can do that independent analysis and that study. Secondarily, I recommended that because it's my understanding that Hiram Rule had done the study for the Fairfield properties and done the study for the bank and Diamond property already, and there would be no reason to incur additional expense, taxpayers' expense, to have somebody do a brand new study. So, with respect to the appraisal, I believe that we have Board of Appraisal. I apologize, I should know exactly where it is, Councilwoman, but I will find out exactly where that appraisal is.
I'd like to know what the building is worth
And you should.
before any of this goes on.
Agreed. Yep. Yes.
Mr. Doyle, just if I may, regardless of whether or not you're getting a check from Rochelle Park, which it would be out of escrow, your obligation ethically and legally is to zealously advocate on behalf of the Township of Rochelle Park.
Period. Hard stop, that's right. They have to pay for it, but at the end of the day, my duties run solely to this governing body, not to the planning board, solely to this governing body.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to clear up, when we get this appraisal, the appraisal's based on being an area of redevelopment, correct?
It'll be based on what the highest and best use is for the
Okay.
property in a normal transaction.
Okay,
Right, that's what it will be based on.
okay.
Diane Verhassel, Forest Place. Couple questions. First, Windsor Court's payment, which is one of the things you guys are voting on tonight, was due to an agreement with the developer that disappeared soon after Windsor Court was finished, in case some of you didn't realize that. He was going to pay for the garbage, take care of the garbage. As soon as the building was completed, he disappeared. So that's what a lot of that arrangement came in. I would like to make sure that this doesn't happen with what's going across the street, what's going on here, et cetera. I know Telfer's this great developer, but whoever they sell the apartments to can do the same thing. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take care of it, and then disappear, and then we're on the hook for the same kind of thing. So I'd like us just to keep that in mind, because when Windsor was built, we were guaranteed they were going to take care of the garbage. And then as soon as the developer disappeared, it fell on the township, and that's where some of that, so I just want us to keep that in mind, or you keep it in mind.
State law.
I think you're obligated
Yes,
by law. to
Municipal
pick up
Services
the
Act, my
garbage.
understanding, Mr. DePisa, is it's state mandate that we have to, for a certain amount of units, that the municipality has to offset the cost of.
Well, I know
The
when the
regular
Windsor
services.
apartments went in, part of the deal he made with the people living there is that he was going to make sure, or take care of the company or whatever.
Can I ask a question, because I have this came up.
Sure.
How long ago was the apartments going?
Oh, God, Windsor Apartments?
25 years, maybe?
So
No, it wasn't that long.
No?
Yes, there's been a change.
Yeah.
So since those apartments went in,
They've changed the law.
Yes.
somebody challenged the law. So
Correct.
developers just say, yeah, we'll pick up our garbage, we'll pick up our garbage. Some smart lawyer, smart ass lawyer, figured out after they bought it, that that's double taxation. Right, because I'm giving you money for these units, which includes solid waste, right? And then I'm picking it up. So somebody challenged it and said it's what we call ultra virus. That's a Latin word for, it was illegal from the moment they made us do that. So that's what happened. So we're fully aware of that now.
Okay, I didn't know they changed the
So,
law.
but your point's a good one.
What size development would we not be responsible, or we're always
I
responsible?
doubt it,
You're
Always.
always responsible. You can't
because they
contract
pay
it.
tax down.
Okay,
Well, that's what part of
That
the
also
payment is
includes,
that you guys are doing
Yeah.
tonight.
Usually snow removal, unless it's a private complex and unless they want to do something different. Then you gotta give them credit, but we don't need to give them credit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before my time runs out, I know we've all been talking, but, two other things. When decisions are made, if I jump ahead and say, okay, chances are Tulsa will be building apartments here or whatever, I just want to know, can we, and don't answer me yet, because I want to get my other question in. Can some kind of, I don't want to use the requirement, but something be written in there that some of the flooding after they built the storage unit, people that live in Berdan had a lot more flooding and some of the streets. If there's anything that could be written in so that when this gets built here, more flooding doesn't also affect the residents there. I'm just, it's something to think about. The other thing I wanted to ask is, to the mayor. I watched the video from the, library meeting where you happened to say that when you, elect people to be on committees, you discuss it with fellow township people, and I'd like to know if all, well, Mr. Peachy just came on, but everybody else, were you in on all the discussions and all the appointments that were made by the mayor? Because when he mentioned some of them, the rest of you seemed kind of not involved, and, he just kind of said, I'm appointing so-and-so or so-and-so. So I'm just curious if everybody else
Not
was
me.
involved in those discussions. Ms. Otola, were you involved in that?
well, you know I don't talk to you,
That's fine,
about your, why don't you
fine.
tell everybody about your blow up in closed session?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I told him
anyway,
to go F himself.
Very good, the committee woman.
Ms. Otola, were you involved in those discussions every time that somebody was appointed? I'm just going by what was said at a meeting. Is that a yes or no?
Ms. Van Hassel, your time's up. Just finish your.
Well, part of my time was,
Please, I stopped it, and I did stop.
okay, well,
I'm
I
saying
just
to
want an
finish.
answer to my
No
question.
worries, of course. Just letting you know.
Mr. Bassetti, were you involved in those decisions?
Some of them, yes.
Some. And Ms. Otola, you too?
Yes, some.
Okay, so some. So some were, some weren't. I'm just questioning because, Mr. Mosca, when you said at the meeting, at the library meeting, I saw it on the video, that you said all your appointments you would discuss with them. It just seems sometimes when they were brought up here and you were announcing things, the rest of your committee kind of acknowledged that they didn't seem to know what you, because they was questioned. They even
I
said,
can't comment on how they look when I make the,
well, they seemed surprised by some of them. So I just asked to see who was involved, and they said some, which means not all. And if there's, so if you made a statement that they've been involved in all, it's not necessarily true.
Thank you.
Been happening with all this, again, on the municipal building. I believe you said tonight that the developer is paying for this? For the
That's the
municipal,
problem with this.
pardon?
They're going to be paying for the costs associated with me sitting down, me going before the planning board. They're not going to be paying for the studies. In order to have, so that there's no claim that it's, that the developer somehow paying for the studies and that will affect the outcome. I have recommended the governing body that, the governing body, municipality, pay for the updated studies and the new studies in this building. All of the other costs, the negotiations, the discussions, the meetings with the developer, whatever negotiations may take place, the appraisals and the like, come out of the development investment.
Okay, so in essence then, we, the township, have to purchase the land, right? And the land to build a municipal building on.
The bank diner building,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a swap of some sort. How that-
Okay, but this for that, right? But I thought Mr. McInerney owned the land, not Tulsa.
It's under, so, in the resolution tonight, which I urge you to take a look at, Tulsa is under contract to acquire that property.
Okay, now, you must have designs by now because you're pushing for this. What is the estimate of the cost of the building? None of that? No,
We don't have the design yet either.
none of that.
No,
Yeah.
this is not gonna happen overnight. We're gonna hire and the chief will by more up to speed on where they are. They've gotta go, department by department to do an assessment, to figure out what the needs are, and then we'll come up with a square footage need, and then we'll come up with rough drawings of how we think it'll look, that the whole building will look, et cetera.
And remember, Mrs. Houghton, this is only 2 weeks after the committee brought this to the public's attention, saying, hey, is this something we would want to consider, right? Had those discussions. So we're really in the infancy stages of this. Am I wrong?
Very, very beginning.
Right.
So rather going ahead and just doing it, everybody wanted to make sure the public had an opportunity to comment and be.
But Tulsa would be getting this building to build, apparently, as you said, Mayor, apartments.
When you say getting, there's gonna be.
Exchanging and straightening
There's
financial.
gonna be a transaction in
Right.
which, to the councilwoman's point, we're gonna figure out the value of this building first. We're gonna put a number on it.
And the value of that.
And we're gonna figure out a value of what it's gonna cost to build that and acquire that. And then they're gonna say that they want X number of units on this site, they want Y number of units on the Fairfield site, and then the negotiations are gonna be big. And the goal here is to make sure that an appropriate number of units go on the Fairfield site, that an appropriate number of units go on this site, with the appropriate bulk standards, height, setback, parking requirements, right? And then at the end of all of that, there's going to be a dollar figure that's going to be associated with that. The municipality is going to have to pay something in order to get that property, the bank diner property, in order to acquire it, in order to have it built. What that number is right now, I can't tell you whether it's $100,000 or more.
Well, if there's 120 or 160
160.
apartments across the
160.
street,
Yeah.
there'll be probably more over here. This is going to add to our infrastructure tremendously, which means you're moving out of the flood zone, but a third of Rochelle Park has to stay here. And that's going to create probably, most likely, more water. Like Mr. Kashmir said years ago when 120 was being discussed, 44,000 more gallons of water down Bernand Street.
So, that was a question raised by the previous,
Right.
your last name, then I have to start.
Diane.
What Diane said.
Right.
And I didn't get a chance to answer that question. There's a saying, and you'll hear it, and I urge you to come to the planning board. So what you're talking about is stormwater management, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying in engineering, I learned it when I was a young lawyer. Pre-Q must equal post-Q. And what that basically means is, whatever's coming off that property now, assuming that it's appropriate, no more than that can come off the property.
And that goes back to what I mentioned about the size of what 99% of that parking lot right now is asphalt. And they know that that's their limit, but the changes they're going to have to make and allowing our engineers to review their new plans, if they're substantially reducing the amount of runoff. And I think we would hope any developer the same thing here. At least I know I would. Because I'm tired of pushing people out of here. At the end of the day, as we all know, everybody looks at the bottom right line. The developers that I've met with over the years are like, yeah, if that bottom right line in my spreadsheet is not in the black, I'm going to pay the tax. Money, the revenue brought in, I don't know.
It's $98,000 in the pilot payment. You really can't figure that out until the whole project is out.
I think it would be zero because no one don't want to build it. I'm saying that if they didn't have the pilot, they wouldn't have built it. That's what I think people are missing. If that project would have not, it would not have been been done, we got $270,000 a year. Whatever that was. We already got over $300,000 in fees last year for the building department. Huh?
$254,000 was paid to the town, that's the minimum tax on the property, and then, yes, and then $98 came in as a pilot payment. It's not a tax bill, it's a pilot payment, and you could see it, I know Mrs. Allen, you always get the budget, it's in there, so you could see it.
Correct. They provide the numbers, we have it, we have their spreadsheets, we've actually collected and they but to our benefit, by the way, we collected it to our benefit. but that's actually down about a third, and you're right, they have a purchaser, and again, we don't dictate the soil, and this is how I've repeated that here numerous times, folks. Unfortunately, the Bergen County Soil Conservation Committee dictates what happens with our towns. I could jump up and down and stand out there in my nice white shirt, nobody's gonna care. I will try, I'm sorry. Yeah, and believe me, they want it out of there, because it's gonna interfere with their training.
Ship it out at the very end of the job.
They do have a purchaser, and I've been told they're gonna get it out of there in the next couple of weeks, but it's down about a third. Thank you, thank you. Deserves in the way.
Back in November, at one of the annual meetings, there was a whole talk about the redevelopment and the whole study that was done, from Fairfield Drive all the way up to Roselle Ave, from Padway to, St. And at the end of that meeting, the board had decided that this redevelopment study should consider job loss, loss of existing businesses, which there's a ton of them out there that are, growing, eliminating or excluding Fairfield Drive and putting us residents. So now, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the redevelopment. And I got up and questioned all our homes on Fairfield. And you had said, no, it's only 2 homes. Number 20 and 24, and 24, which is across the street from me. And I said, okay, so we weren't in consideration anymore. Okay, great. Also said about 2024, something about a driveway, which nobody understood what that was talking about. So now tonight, we're back in that it's going to be our house again.
I know the property owned by Copeland, right?
Well, that's what they keep saying, but then we keep coming up on here. Lot 91, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. So we keep showing up, but we keep being told, no, that's not. It's only the 2 houses owned already by Copeland. We just want a straight answer, like what is going on. Because you also understand, and this is through the grapevine, that a sweet deal was made between Township and Copra that the Copra would build a new building up on the site, up on the other side, for Fairfield Drive and this site. So now you're saying, no, it's not ours.
George, the person at 15 Fairfield. I'd like to know if my property is going to be sold. I'm sure of that. I'm on here, yes. Where are they going to put these streets? even so,
Are you talking about the 2 lots that they're gonna,
yes,
they're supposed to be tearing down, but that's for this project across the street.
right,
That has nothing to do with this new project.
it has nothing to do with,
This other project has nothing to do. We're talking about the houses that they need to knock down so they can have egress
right,
from this site right here, right?
right.
That has nothing to do with this project.
It
That's
has
different,
nothing
two
to do
different
with
lots that they own already, that were put into that development plan.
it.
No, that's just a whole different thing. This has nothing to do with those other 2 lots that they.
So, to reiterate, the planning board, it's a couple of years ago now, when they approved this project, one of the requirements that the state had was to have an emergency exit in case of flooding. Torca had those 2 houses. That was already a part of that plan. This is something totally different. And that's only for emergency exit. It's going to be gated. It's not going to be open all the time. It's going to have controlled so that the water can be absorbed by it.
And our properties are not going to be sold.
So no, so that was already a part of the previous deal. And that was done through the planning board, and like I said, a couple years ago now, it was for this approval. So that was part of this project that's already under development.
Yeah, and all of this project is non-condemnation.
Thank you.
Mayor Township, you formed Access for All months ago, and we're almost in April, and there has not been anything set up, no contact, no anything. If we're gonna do something for the year 2023, I think we need to get the ball rolling. Second of all, the director for, recreation, is that going to be just a part-time job, full-time job, and are they going to be a voting member of the committee? I think that, yeah, so they will not be on the committee. They are strictly township employees. Because in years past, the person who was getting paid was also a voting member, which is a conflict of interest because that's the Garcia. But if no one said or done anything in reference to it, as long as we do it afterwards, it's okay. In my recollection, she can get votes for her name.
Karen Sarah, 28 Crescent Street. I apologize if I'm repeating stuff that I've already answered work and I'm kind of late. About flooding, that was concern. When we built that project across the street, I came to a number of meetings with different councils and I questioned the grading of the storage center. And I was told the engineer said it's the same grading as the building that was there prior. I drive down this block for 25 years. I'd like to see the numbers. That's exactly what it was before. Because everybody's wondering why other places in the town got flooded. And when you build something higher, flood water goes this way. And I'd like to know what's going to mitigate 160 units. God knows what's going to come here if they ever do something. Or 500 units that's going to go behind the plaza. And we're going to be doing construction on Route 17, which should impact Rosa Park significantly. Let's just pray to God it doesn't all happen at the same time. So is there going to be like a redirecting culvert that they have in California where you can ride your cars in it? Because that's what we need here. You're at the epicenter of flooding. 1935 picture of a Swiss chalet to demonstrate how much water can go here. And that was before climate change. And that was before we used to have marshes back there that absorbed the water. We've taken down almost every tree there is that could absorb water, and we're going to do it again. So what is it that the developer is going to do to make sure the little spring brook over here doesn't get to be the river? You talk about leaving, that's the next step. People like me that have been there 30+ years, we're done. I can't have another flood. I can't bail out my basement again. I'm on a hill, just so you know. And, I feel for everybody who's ever been underwater and bullied out of their house. That's a crime. And we're building in a flood zone that is, according to all our scientists, it's only going to get worse. And when you expand like we do, it's only going to get 10 times worse. So what's the promise? That we're going to make sure the water is diverted. We haven't done one thing with the Sound River, which is our country. It's totally cleaned up scratch water. It's what, 6 feet wide? Come on. Are we serious about flooding, or are we just going to keep like building things and making things look good? And ratables are no good when everybody's moving out, where their houses are condemned, or there's mold in their houses. I just don't get it. Like, you got to be smart developers. You got to be smart in our planning. And I'm looking at that thing now. That's not the same level as what was there before. You got to be an idiot to think it's the same level. That's graded up. And that just means water comes this way. You guys get to leave. You put down your street plan. Yes, you can. What decision? No, I'm done. I mean, it goes on their ears anyway, but, I'm pretty much done. It's just sad, though. I'd like to see the plans that the height is bigger than the things I'm seeing over there now, because that's not going to happen. Covers cars. If you go out, I go down to State Street for a run on the floor for my name and pick it up more than episode one. So, hopefully in the plan, we're going to see something that shows a little more.
I appreciate thoughts. I think we're talking about two different things. When it's flood, doesn't matter what size pipe you have. It's overrun. So the runoff rivers has nothing to do with the flood. The runoff is a separate issue, which we will make sure our developers take that into account in storm water runoff. Flooding is something that we have no power over, and like you said, it's been happening for 100 years. And this area has been flooding for over 100 years, right? Everyone agrees to that. So we can't stop flood unless the federal government, Army Corps of Engineers, dredges the river, and they say that might not even help, even if they did. So that's probably why they're really looking. So I don't even know if that would even help. This area is low. It's going to flood. Everyone has to realize that. I appreciate that comment, but the flooding part, it has that has nothing to do with the flooding part. It has to do with the runoff, I agree. And that's what we can force our developers into taking care of.
And to her point, even before any of these houses were built in this town, it flooded. So it flooded even before buildings were built. So we are not going to be able to stop that. Please, and I live in a flood zone. I did not. Okay, so you have your.
raised the floor. Yes, they invested money into that, so we become a moat. So the police department has to evacuate town hall, has to be evacuated. Yeah. That was 99. We were here in 94, 95. Raised the third floor. The roof, the ceiling got low. But in 99, I've been here since 1968. In 99, the water level was the height of every doorknob that you see. Not currently, because the rainforest, that was the level of water throughout the building as well. This was a World War II, one of the first trumpets in the right, and they had underground oil tanks, which ended up leaking as well. So it was a black scare. Yeah. the motion to approve the minutes listed as listed below? Closed session minutes dated January 25th, 2023. Public meeting and closed session minutes dated March 8th, 2023. That's the motion introduced by title and first reading ordinance number 2023-007, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget cost of living allowance and establish a cap bank CY 2023 by way of resolution 023-087 will be published in turn the voting record of notice of public hearing to be held on April 12th, 2023. That's the motion introduced by title and first reading ordinance number 2023-008, an ordinance to amend chapter 36 of the code of the Township of Ocean Park entitled Recreation Committee by way of resolution 023-100 and be published in turn in the voting record of notice of public hearing to be held on April 12th, 2023. Yes. Next up, resolutions. Items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Committee will be approved by one motion. There are no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen so requests. In this case, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the formal sequence on the agenda as part of the agenda orders. Yeah, that's an easy fix if that's a problem. Right. That's an easy fix. Right. Yep. 2394, thank you. Yeah, so just revise that if needed. Just vote on it with that way. So, can we have motion, I'll make the second. Yes. Okay, next up is closed session. We're not coming back to the minutes. There'll be a public session for the minutes of the closed session. And we'll take 1 second. Okay, so for the public, anybody ask for the further review. Further action taken with respect to a vote that may be required for that sort of litigation for the matter of being found the voting to take the closed session back. In additional closed session, we're going to talk about matters of litigation, negotiations, attorney-client privilege, surrounding industrial nuisance charges, in the township. Let's go to the vote. All in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Anyone abstain?
Okay, welcome back. So we're going to vote on the resolution. I'll have our attorney explain the resolution.
Pursuant to your discussion in closed session with condemnation counsel Doug Doyle, and in connection with the AT&T litigation, the condemnation attorney is asking for a resolution authorizing the filing of a declaration of taking, and for the disbursement of the funds to the court pursuant to discussion. So it would be a resolution authorizing Doug Doyle's office, Dakotas, to file the declaration of taking and disperse the funds to the court.
Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Otola?
Yes.
Committeeman Bisetti?
Yes.
Committeewoman Boniface?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci?
Yes.
Mayor Mosca?
Yes. Okay, that's it for tonight. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone abstain? Anyone against? Okay.
All right.